Welcome back, everybody, to Reselling History. This is Scott, and we got a special video today. I'm going to be showing off my updated watch collection for you guys. A lot of people have been asking about it, and I'm finally getting around to it. It's getting towards the end of the year, so I have a few new watches in my collection. My last video I did this, it was well over a year ago, so I've definitely added to the collection. And I want to show you guys all my finds. So let's get into it. Start in the drawer right here. In the drawer is all of my watches that I need to get repaired. So let's start with the broken watches first. All right, so here we go, you guys. Everything in here needs to be repaired. I'm going to start with this quartz watch right here because I've had this such a long time. I just haven't gotten around to putting a battery in it yet. But this is one of my very first wristwatches. I got this like 8 years ago, and it's made out of brass. It's kind of a knockoff of a World War II to like 1960s military aviator watch. It's made in Japan, quartz movement. It's a little bit collectible. It's probably like a $40 watch, but I always like the look of the brass on there. You don't see a lot of watches made out of brass like this, so kind of a cool everyday type of watch. Next up, we're staying on that military theme. You guys know I love military watches, and right here is a beautiful Westclox watch. Now this is from the Vietnam War era, and I've had this for about a year now, and sadly it just stopped running. It's been working so reliably, but unfortunately I dropped it. It wasn't even a tall drop. It was like a foot off the ground, and it stopped running. It's an automatic watch, 17 jewel. I really love the I think it's from like the late 60s, but you can kind of tell by looking at that dial, this is for like a 1960s era watch. Now these were not issued to the soldiers in the Vietnam War. They were sold and marketed to them, so they had to buy these with their own money. And surprisingly, this Westclox has a Seiko movement in it. Seiko did provide some movements for Westclox for some of their watches in the 1960s era, but this is just a beautiful watch. I'm probably going to get it repaired because it's kind of a rare watch, especially the automatic. They do have a manual wind version, and you just don't see it in this great of condition. So it's a beautiful Westclox, and I'm sad that it broke, but I'm gonna hold on to it for now. All right, keeping on that military theme. Now I bought this. This is a Nautilus. I've never heard of this watch brand before. It kind of stood out to me. I got this on an online forum. I'm part of like a military collectible forum, and somebody offered this to me for really inexpensive. Now what makes this watch a little special is on the back, it's engraved with the sailor's name. So it says Bob Knox, Navy Air Corps. So he served, I tried to do some research on him. I think he served in the Navy, but like he wasn't a pilot, but he worked in the aviation part of the Navy during World War II. I think he was maybe a repair tech or something like that for the airplanes. But it's a cool looking watch. I love the Roman numerals. The dial's kind of dirty. It's got a really cool red pointer seconds hand, and it's a good candidate to get repaired. I just haven't got it done yet. It's missing the crown, but I love preserving history, especially with those engraved watches. And here's one more engraved watch to show you guys. This is an Elgin, and at first I thought this was a lady's watch. It's so small. It's probably like 29 millimeters. And on the back here, it's also engraved W.D. Kennedy, and it has his service number right here, and it says USA. So obviously that makes the watch pretty special, but I did have to do some intense digging to find out who this man was, and his name was William D. Kennedy, and he served with I can't remember. It was an infantry regiment. I'll put it on the screen here if I can remember. But somebody pulled up his file for me, and he was awarded a combat infantry badge towards like the later end of World War II, and his unit actually stormed D-Day, the beach of Normandy on D-Day. So you got his service number, and it says USA, and it has his name. So this is kind of like not just a watch, but an identification type of bracelet. A lot of them had that. If they were to get wounded or go missing or be killed, they would want to be able to identify them somehow, not just with their dog tags, but it helps just to have an extra item. So I like to think maybe he wore this in combat. I don't know for sure, but it's kind of a cool story watch, and I'll eventually get that restored as well. I almost forgot to show you guys this watch also. So I got this in a junk lot, and I have no money into it, and I'm contemplating getting it serviced. But it's a really cool looking Bulova watch. It's from like the 1940s. Got a little bit of an exploding dial, original hands. It's missing the crown, but I like this watch because it's a rose gold filled case, and I just don't have any rose gold watches. It also has a really cool matching rose gold bracelet. So you gotta admit that looks cool. And one of my wedding bands is rose gold colored, so I thought it would be good to match it. But I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep it yet, but I just thought I'd share that with you guys too. So that's all for the repair watches, you guys. These are my nicer watches. I'm gonna show you these last. I'm gonna pull up this other case right here, and let's go through this. And first out, I'm gonna start with this one right here. So my wife got me this watch. It's a Breitling, and sadly, she didn't know this at the time. It's not 100% authentic. It's kind of like a Frankenstein Breitling watch, and I think it's a cadet watch. You can see the dial has been redone, and I'm pretty sure a lot of this is Frankenstein parts. But it's from my wife, and it runs beautifully, and it was pretty inexpensive compared to other Breitlings. So it's a wonderful watch in my collection. I think it's the only truly white dial that I have, so that's a cool little watch she got me. Next up, you guys, this is like one of my everyday wears right here. This is a vintage Timex Electric. It's from 1978. It's kind of got like a skin diver style. It's definitely not a diver watch. I wouldn't take this in any water. And it's got a beautiful dial. One thing, well, unfortunately, the battery just went out the other day. That's the downside of these Timex Electrics, is the batteries don't last that long because it just uses a lot of power. It's kind of like the same mechanical components of, let's say, like an alarm clock, a mechanical alarm clock, just powered by a battery. But a few things I like about this watch, well, I like the sound of it. You can hear it, it's kind of loud, but it kind of sounds cool when it's running, almost like an alarm clock on the side of your bed. So I like that sound. And I also like this outer part of the dial. So it's red and white, but if you kind of zoom out a little bit, it gives you the illusion that that outer part of the dial is blue. So it almost looks red and blue. And I just like that. It's kind of like an optical illusion. And it's in nice condition. These are usually pretty beat up, and they're pretty sought after. Timex actually released a re-edition of these. I think it's called the Timex Velocity, but this is the original one. It's kind of an expensive Timex too. It's probably worth about 150 bucks. So that's a nice part of my collection. All right, next up, you guys, this is my first and only so far Casio watch in my collection. As you can see, it's a digital watch, and I got this in a lot with other watches, and I think this dates from like 1980 or maybe like the mid 80s. But this is a pretty sought after Casio, and you've probably seen in my last videos, I've gotten a few Casios lately. I've been so surprised how expensive some of these vintage Casios can go for, sometimes up to $1,000. So this one, it's in really, really good condition. They're usually beat up, and this is, I think this is called the Casio Marlin. Even the light works also, so it's in wonderful condition. I put a new battery in it. This is just a wonderful everyday type of wear watch, reliable if I don't feel like wearing a mechanical watch. And apparently it's waterproof too. I'm not going to be trying that out though. But nice Casio retail. These probably sell for a couple $100s. And next up, you guys, I'm gonna go with this right here. This is probably one of my most underrated watches. And this is a Girard Perregaux. It's got a really nice bullseye dial. I think this is probably from the 1950s or so. But it has a really, really unique dial. You gotta admit, I haven't seen another one that looks like this. So this is really unique. I've searched online for something similar. I'm not sure if the crown is original. Even if it's not original, it kind of looks cool, like that little brass look to it. But I did put this steel bracelet on there. I thought it paired well with it. It's running well. I've never serviced it. I got this also in a watch lot, and I don't believe in servicing watches or getting them checked out as long as they're running fine. I don't think there's any need to get them serviced. You just gotta wait until something happens, and something will eventually happen. But beautiful Girard Perregaux. As far as retail value, I'm not sure how much this is worth, honestly. Maybe $200 or $300, maybe a little bit more because of that unique dial. So this is a really unique watch in my collection. All right, and next up, you guys, we have, this is my only square or rectangle tank style watch. And I also got this in a watch lot, and it was pretty darn inexpensive. I think I got this and two other watches for like $50. And I sold the other watches off, and so I had no money in this, but I did recently get this serviced. So this is a vintage Elgin. This is the E1 series, and I think this dates from about 1929 or 1930, around there. And what makes this watch really special is this beautiful dial. So these are exploding numerals. They call this an exploding dial. And when you look at it, it almost takes you back to like the roaring 20s. I could just imagine somebody from like the Great Gatsby movie throwing some luxurious parties and somebody wearing this on their wrist. But this is just a beautiful Elgin. I love the gold numerals too, and unfortunately it does have some scratches on the back. It's a 14 karat white gold filled case. It's got some beautiful filigree work right there on the side of the case. But this is a pretty rare watch because you just don't find them in this condition with a dial. They're usually pretty beat up. Elgins are reliable watches, and they were worn almost every day by these gentlemen back in the day. So they got beat up, but this one was well taken care of, and I'm really satisfied with it. I know a few of you have reached out to me about this watch. I'm not sure if I'm gonna let it go yet, but I'm still giving it I'm enjoying it for the moment. Well, let's just say that. So yeah, beautiful watch. I almost forgot to show you guys this watch too. Sorry, but this is another recent find of mine. So this is a unique watch. It's from World War II era. It's made by an obscure little company called Defender Watch Company. And there's not a lot known about them, but they were active like in the war years during World War II. You can kind of get that by the name Defender, you know, defending the nation. So a lot of things were military themed back then. But this is a really cool watch because instead of having Defender Watch Co. on the dial, it's a custom dial with the man's name on there. So I'm just gonna assume that he might have been a GI service man in the military, and maybe him or his family got this custom watch for him. I have looked at the movement, and it does say Defender Watch Co. on the movement, and it's a unique movement because it's actually a bumper automatic. Surprisingly, it's a really early bumper, so it's probably from the early 40s or so. It's been working beautifully, and I put this World War II canvas green strap on there. I thought it would match those Art Deco green numerals. But this is just a wonderful little watch. I mean, I just love World War II watches, you guys. All right, you guys, I forgot to film this watch also. Like when you have so many watches, it's just easy to misplace them. But I do plan on getting this repaired soon. So this is a Patria watch from World War I, and this is a men's mechanical watch. And it's in pretty good condition. I've had one before, and they're usually just so beat up. But you can see it is a radium dial, so a lot of that radium is still there, surprisingly. It doesn't run. It has the original crown, which is another hard thing to find with these Patrias. And it actually shares a relation with Omega. I believe the founder of Patria also worked with Omega for a little bit. But it's a pretty nice watch. Soon I'm going to have basically a military watch for each war that's happened since World War I. So I'm looking forward to completing that little collection. And here we go, guys. These are probably my 4 most valuable watches in my collection. And before I show you guys, don't hesitate to like this video, subscribe to my channel because it really supports me and it motivates me to keep making these vintage watch videos. You guys really appreciate the support. And first I'm going to show this watch right here. So this is a pretty amazing watch, pretty amazing find, one of my best finds actually. This is a vintage Vulcan. So I got this in a junk lot, you guys. I think I paid 30 bucks for everything, and this was just sitting in there, and my mouth dropped when I saw it because this is a very rare watch. So Vulcan actually re-released this watch, I want to say like 10 years ago maybe. So obviously this is a skin diver style watch, and they released it. I think it runs for about $1,000 retail right now, maybe a couple grand. But this is the original version from, I think, the late 60s or early 70s. And it's just in wonderful condition. Look at that dial. That dial looks amazing. It's all original. You got the original strap. I had this serviced because it wasn't running consistently, so I did have to get it serviced. Retail value for this watch, you guys, this is probably about I think I saw one sell a few months ago on eBay for $700, and these original ones don't come up often at all. So it's probably around $800, but I'm definitely gonna keep this. It's got a nice large size case, and this thing is just amazing. It is beautiful, and I'm so happy that I got this watch right here. Okay, and next up, you guys, we're gonna go with the Omega right here. The one and only Omega in my collection, and this is just a beautiful, beautiful watch. So I got this watch probably, I think like a couple years ago. I was at a thrift shop, and I'm pretty good friends with the worker there, and they saved me a big bucket of watches, and they all came from the same gentleman. And when I mean a big bucket, it was like the size of a water pail. And I started looking through everything, and immediately I saw this Omega. Actually, there were 2 Omegas. There was a Tissot and a Universal Geneve. And I said, what do you want for everything? And they said, well, make me an offer. So I offered them $500 on the spot. I paid $500 for it all. And when I got home, started searching through everything, and I was just amazed by the finds in there, you guys. This is one of them I decided to hold on to. So this is a Omega automatic. I think this dates from 1947 or 48, so late 40s, and it's inscribed on the bottom. So it says, presented to Stanley W. Rosenfeld by Brooklyn District Eli Lilly Company in honor of 25 years of devoted service, September 17th, 1943. So I looked up this gentleman, and he was born like in the late 1800s. Seems like he was working at this place for a long time. And I did have to get this serviced, so it didn't have a crown. And I just settled to put this aftermarket crown on it. I do eventually, I hope to find an original crown so I can get it put on here and keep it as original as possible. But just look at that dial. I love some of the aging on that dial. That's from the sun over the years. And this is just wonderful Omega. Oh, it's also 14 karat solid gold. The case is solid gold. So it's a very, it's kind of a high dollar Omega. And it was a little bittersweet getting it, because on one hand, I get to cherish this and keep this guy's memory alive by wearing his watches. On the other hand, it kind of broke my heart to see all his watches just given away, especially something like this where he devoted 25 years of hard work to his company, and many years later it was just given away by a family member. So a little sad that people do that. I definitely would never do that with my grandparents or ancestors, but it'll be appreciated now, Stanley, for sure. So from that watch bucket at the thrift shop, I kept 2 watches, and this is the second watch right here. So this is another watch that belonged to Stanley, I'm assuming, and this is a Universal Geneve, and this is another really special watch, you guys. So I had this serviced, it wasn't working, and unfortunately some of the watches in the bucket, they had some water damage. So you can see that water damage with the dial here. I never chose to get it refinished because I'm the type of person who likes things original. And if it has moisture damage over the years, well, so be it. You know, I'm just gonna leave that as it is. And what makes this watch special is the case. So this is an oversized case. The watch dates from 1943. So it's a 1943 Universal Geneve. It has some really unique lugs going on right here. In fact, I've seen the exact same case and lugs used on a Patek Philippe from the 1940s also. So I don't know if this was like a shared case that both companies used, or it was just a more common style back then. But it's a nice oversized case, and it's an 18 karat gold watch case. So solid gold, 18 karat. It works beautifully. It's the original crown, and I put this like 19, probably like 40s or 50s gold-filled watch bracelet on here. But this is just another amazing watch, you guys. These are probably my best watch finds ever, honestly. And if you're wondering what I did with the other watches from that bucket, I sold the rest of them, and I made a little bit of profit. So I was able to make profit and keep 2 watches. And then I invested that profit into these watches to get them serviced and running. So it was a really good investment. And I'm glad that Stanley's watches are appreciated now. All right, and that brings us to our last watch, you guys. And some of you may have just seen this. I had it on a recent video of mine. I recently got it, and I've always wanted one. This is a vintage Rolex Victory. And if you're thinking Rolex, you're probably thinking large, flashy. Well, that wasn't Rolex back in the day. So this is from I think it's from like 1943. And this is a Rolex Victory. So this was sold to Canadian Army soldiers during World War II. It wasn't a military issue watch, but it was sold and marketed towards them. A lot of times their family members would buy it for them and give it to them as a gift before they go overseas and fight in the war. But you can see it says Victory. A lot of things were branded Victory then because people were hoping for the best and were rooting for their country and their allied nations during the war. So you can see some of the radium loom has worn off the hands. The numbers. I do think the hands are original. And if we turn it to the side here, it's got the original crown. It's an oyster crown. In fact, it's an oyster case. So this was apparently a waterproof watch back in the day. And I'm sure they were, but they're probably not water. I wouldn't get this thing near water. anymore at all. But as you can see, it's kind of a small size. I think it's about 30 millimeters. So I've said this many times before, but the soldiers during the war, they didn't care to have flashy watches that scream for attention. They just wanted something kind of classy looking, simple, and gets the job done, reliable. And that's exactly what this watch is. And it has a lot of history behind it, so that's why I purchased this watch. I got it for around $1,500. And if you want to see my journey on how I got this watch, I'll leave a link down below so you guys can watch that video. But basically, I started from $100 and I kept flipping things, and I eventually flipped enough so I can purchase this watch. So it was a cool story, kind of just a little gift for me for all my hard work. All right, so that's it for the watch collection, you guys. I'm hoping by this time next year, it'll be even larger than this. So let me know in the comments, you guys, what is your favorite watch that I showed you? I'm curious to know if you guys can have one watch, which watch would it be? So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.